Hi, Nina.
Hi.
Welcome back to another chat with, I'm welcoming myself back to get to chat with you again. I thank you so much for taking the time to sit down again. I thought with the new album, the new EP coming out, we can maybe chat track by track on that a little bit, since we
Yeah.
last time we learned about your career, and now we can dig into the event of the week, the release of Together Away.
Yay, it's so close. I can't believe it's Friday that it comes out.
I'm sure it's hard to imagine after all of the time to build, to write the songs, to put it together, to sequence it, to everything, and promote it, and then here it is. Here it is, the week of release. How in the debut, a debut release.
Yeah, exciting.
So I just thought, well, let me just reintroduce because people hopefully will spend time with our first interview and learn about that, and then step into our track by track. They'll really want to hear this once they really hear all the great things you have to say about it. Um, so Nina Herzog, just I don't know where to really begin with her career. I mean, voice acting and singing, commercial recordings that she's made, musical theater work. Uh, a member of Buzz Feed royalty, and a songwriter on top of it now. Now writing songs from her perspective, her life, after spending so many years of her career and building and growing a body of work, that now she gets to think about what she wants to say in the songs rather than interpreting someone else, which is always cool too, to interpret other people's, but to now get to use your voice and what you want to talk about and what you'd like people to think, so, and sing.
Yeah, it's been different and so fun, and I'm excited to share more. Yeah.
Great. So I just thought we'd start at the top. It's a 6-track EP for those of you who are going to be listening to our interview. It's a 6-track EP called Together Away. Maybe you could start by just telling us kind of how you named the album.
Yeah, well, Together Away is the name that came to me as I was reflecting on the idea, which is a theme of the EP, of how when we have loved ones in our lives that are no longer right beside us physically due to, being away. People live all over the country now,
Yeah.
or being on tour, or just being at work while they're at home, or they've passed on and they're no longer here in that same physical way, that there's really this continual, eternal, everlasting connection that we always have, and a nearness to one another, no matter what, with all of our loved ones. And so I chose Together Away as a sort of reminder of that concept, that we're still together and connected even when we're apart, away from one another.
I love that. Just the title is inspirational. Just starting right there, just thinking about that makes you want to delve in and hear the music and say, well, how does this all thread together? And it certainly does thread together. It's I think that sequencing, sometimes when we put albums together, when artists put out, I can't say firsthand, but as a listener of many, releases, you always question the tracking and the sequencing, and you can see how it weaves together. I know you've referred to this sometimes as like a concept album because it's that concept. It's that concept you just mentioned. So it's
Mhm.
not just that that's the theme of the name of the album and then there's some songs. It's the name of
Right.
the album, and those songs will dig right back to Together Away.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all of the tracks in different ways touch on that concept somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
And really also I think that when we accept that that might be true, that that is a probable reality, that we are all connected, once we've influenced each other and met and had a connection, that we're changed because um, yeah, we've affected one another, and therefore we always have each other in a way. If that's true, then it's feels like more permission to take a chance, to put yourself out there, to love and live and go after things. And what is that saying? Maybe it's Shakespeare, but something of, it's like it's better to have loved loved and lost than never to have loved at all,
Right.
right? Same with it's better to like have lived and tried, and who knows what amount of success or what the exact outcome will be in any given situation, but going towards that vision and that dream and where your heart is guiding you is what it's all about. And yeah, so Together Away, I think each of the songs have that connection, and also what happens when you are considering the possibility of really following your heart.
And so many people, unfortunately, are afraid to take that path of least resistance, that we'll talk about that later, but they're afraid to take that path of least resistance, to not take that path,
Right.
I said it backwards, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I say,
Yeah.
I don't want to take the path of least resistance. I want to go out and I want to chase life. I don't want to just settle for that path that looks like the sure path,
Right.
a
Exactly.
job that has a 9 to 5 and that paycheck will be there every week. Well, maybe the paychecks will be sporadic, but the soul will be filled. So not taking to take the path of least resistance is not always the answer. Looking and charging ahead and taking something
Right.
that might be a little more resistant to the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, well, we'll go, I know you want to go track by track, but changing seasons, I think, is so much about, yes, it is important to go with the seasons as they change and flow, and kind of like, I like, even right now, all I can really do is try my best to think, what can I do right now? And how do I just go with the change? Having resistance about the state of our things sometimes is not where I want to put my energy. It's in like seeing what I can do right now today with these given circumstances to go after what I care about. And yeah. So, but at the same time, yeah, least resistance is really more about going with the flow. Yes, it's important, but staying targeted on what is most important, and yes, maybe scariest too, because it takes vulnerability and courage to do the thing you love. But that kind of swimming upstream and doing the thing, even though it feels hard, um, is is what it's about too. So that's like better to live in love, live and loved. Same with going towards your dreams that are not necessarily romantic, but are about your purpose in this world.
And the payoff is tenfold if you go down that route and you just trust the moment and not worry about the future. As sometimes the payoff is tenfold when you take that leap of faith. It can be, it really can be. So
Yeah.
um so changing seasons, we'll start at the top here, go right back into that for a moment here. I know you said last time, I believe you were visiting your sister up in Alaska, and you were kind of running through the forest and kind of running through all the trees and just thinking about all of that. It just kind of inspired you to write that song. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, the forest in Alaska is actually where the inspirations came to me for least resistance. For changing seasons, um, you know, I talk a lot about sunny California in that song,
Right, right, right.
and also kind of a reflection on the experience of literally watching the seasons change. And I came I lived was born in Los Angeles in sunny California, and then we moved to the mountains, where there were apple orchards and lots of woods, and I spent a lot of time in nature. And compared to the East Coast, we still have, changing seasons light in
Uh-huh.
California.
Sure.
Kind of, I guess. Although, we got a good amount of snow. We got snowed in a couple times, and oh, the fall colors around Thanksgiving, especially. And it was apple orchards, so right around Thanksgiving is also apple season. So there were,
Right,
it
right.
was it was an experience to see the seasons change. And then we moved out of the mountains because I started getting very involved in extracurriculars in the arts, and I have a sister that was also involved in lots of things academically and athletically and things. Um, and so we moved into the suburbs, back into kind of sunny, not changing seasons. So I think it came from like a reflection of that time experiencing the changing seasons and then living in sunny LA again, like I am now here again, and kind of just using that as sort of this idea that I don't know, that we have to kind of go towards all the colors and find our and and I think it's nice when you grow when you live with changing seasons because it's like this reflection of life where it's, you know, sometimes it's chilly and sometimes it's this and it's like that is life. It's full of so many colors and so much shifting and transitions and just kind of diving in and using all of the experiences that these changing colors, changing seasons bring as inspiration. You know, the chorus is help me sing, help me sing, help me sing. Like a beckoning of like just all of my senses be open to this moment and all what's happening in nature and in me and in my heart and my soul and my path and help me to use all of that inspiration and sing with it um and then also there's sort of a romantic element to the metaphor too of like
Sure.
yeah I think there's yeah it is romantic to go after the things you love and to follow your heart and so yeah I think there is a little of that in the song and it's cozy too. That's sort of how I feel about my time, my childhood in the mountains, in the apple orchards, playing outside, fireplaces, you know, and in the mountains you need a little crackling fire to stay
Right.
warm. It's very cozy and the smells and the snow outside and that was something that I wanted to bring to the recording studio too. We played with rain sticks and different sounds that would sort of bring these transitions. There's like a thunderbolt and you know, like sound in the layering. And I yeah, that kind of cozy snuggled up by the fire with a warm drink,
Yeah.
changing seasons.
Sure. Sure.
I really wanted to capture and yeah, it was such a fun song to do.
You know, I'm going to use the moment you talked about the instrumentation and the rain sticks and all the different instruments and sounds. That really stands out on this EP. I love the instrumentation. I just love the way things, I love the sound of the piano. I just love that really bright sound of the piano and I
Mm.
love the strings. I'll talk about an individual tracks later on. There's some favorite tracks for strings that are on this that I've heard on the I have had a chance to listen to all 6 tracks now since our last conversation, and so I can speak on the different things that I've heard and just love. But I think that the instrumentation really just complements the whole process. You know, your vocals just soar over this really nice bed of music, and I just love the way instruments. I paid attention more, and I'm an instrumentalist, and yet I paid attention more to the instruments in this album than most I've heard because there was something special about that. I just really heard things that I might not hear on a first listen or a second listen with the instruments that were like, these are some pretty cool things happening.
Cool, thank you. That means a lot.
So um, let's jump into the next track, Lean Into Me. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that track and how that came about.
Lean Into Me is one of the earliest songs that I recorded in terms of writing down the lyrics and catching the chords and creating the song. And you know, I feel like I've been writing music kind of my whole life. And I know we talked about that last time, that it was really a form of play.
Right.
But right when I wrote, when Lean Into Me was written, it was right when was kind of making the decision to explore staying in Los Angeles instead of going to New York for musical theater right away. Um, and and trying to discover like what my own song is and so it's the earliest song, the first song that was written from the EP.
Hmm.
And you know, it's so special to have people in your life that are just like really, you can just let go. You can just let it go. You can just like be your true self. I mean, hopefully we always are, but it's like you know that they hold space for you.
Right.
And that's really what I was reflecting on, that it's so wonderful. It's like that feeling in community or in friendship or in love where it's like, wow, I can just, I know I say wash off your makeup, lay down
Right.
your
Right.
armor. You know, these are, yeah, that kind of what it feels like of like you can just, it's the end of the night, it's the, you know, or it's the time where you can let go and you, these people that hold space for you. And I just think that's so beautiful. And the song is sort of a lullaby. Yeah, the lyrics were written in the evening of just like a reflection of wanting to be there in in being present the way that that I am so fortunate to received by my loved ones. I want to be there as well,
Right.
and in return. And the bridge, you know, life takes so much strength to carry on, but together we'll make it better. And the love we make will always carry on. I mean, that is sort of the essence of Together Away too, that we together having each other and feeling connected is makes life better and easier, and like it just we can get through so much. It's amazing. Humans are amazing. Life is amazing in that way. My mom always says, "Oh, the perseverance of the human spirit is just so
Yeah.
fascinating," and I second that. Um, but really, togetherness, having loved ones that are walking through life with you, is, I think, really key to yeah, perseverance um, and yeah, and the idea of the love we make will always carry on. I think it's like Swan Princess. I was just, you know,
Sure.
far longer than forever.
Right.
You know, even beyond our lifetimes, the love that we've created, the love that we've built, the love that we've made will just, you know, that energy. There's like some law of physics that matter is neither created nor destroyed.
Right.
It's maybe in love, it's like, or in life, it's once we've connected and felt that connection and togetherness and love and that energy, that it gets to live forever. I'm sounding very esoteric.
I love it though. I mean,
It's
I
kind of
love it. I
that.
mean, it's you know, we are on this earth, and for you know a short time in the big scheme of things, and to hopefully make a difference in someone's life, in many people's life, in a positive way, which is either words or inspiration or an action, something physically helping someone with something to change their path in life, mentally talking them through a problem. So many ways are, you know, we both have worked with students. You know, I know you do some vocal teaching too, and you know, I have done some over the past. That interacting with people, mentoring young people, even if it's not in the teaching way too, just mentoring when they meet you for the first time and they know that you were, you know, the acting voice and the singing voice of a character that they were able to connect with, and you know, for years, and as they were growing up in their formative years, to see that, and to then to meet you, you have this ability to inspire people, and I know you do that just through just these words here that you have today. Will inspire people who will hear these words. And yeah, I mean, it's just we all have that moment to just try to always, and we don't always know if we have, we don't always know if we have inspired someone, but boy, if it ever comes back to you sometimes when someone says, boy, I did this because of something you said. I took that leap of faith, or I tried to be a better person because of something that someone told me that was good advice. So we're forever trying to hopefully make a positive change in this world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why it's so important to share music. And for so long, I don't know what, you know, it's all relative, but it feels like it's been a while that I've had songs that I feel that are mine, that I feel would be so fun to share, and scary but exciting. And I don't have, I have no idea what comes next, but I know that right now it feels really right to share the music and let it be ours, not just my thing hoarded away, on my piano. It's like now we can have an experience with it. We can, and hopefully, yeah, and it's very literal. It's like I am remaining connected to people I'm just meeting, people who I haven't, seen in a while, but they have, but having music is this really incredible language of that I think does naturally connect. And it's really grateful that sharing music is still available to all of us, and that we can connect through that. That it's found me, or I found it. I don't quite know what order, but that it's in my life. That music's in my life, and that, yeah, I'm
And
spreading
like
it.
you said, it's
Hey.
off the piano. It's not sitting in front of the piano anymore. Now it's going out for the world to hear, which is kind of exciting because a lot of songs stay on pianos in life and they don't get out there to be heard. So you're sending them out to the world.
Yes, I am on Friday.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, let's talk about a lifetime. Let's talk about that track a little bit. What could you tell us about that?
Well, when I wrote A Lifetime, I was Adele's album when it had just recently come out, and I was listening to it a lot, um and reflecting too on just like what the one thing I think felt her in that album is like this searching. It's just like you hear it in her music and in her storytelling of like that search for the right path. And I was so feeling that too. Like, just what do I do? What is next? I need answers. I just like, I'm calling on my muses. Speaking of my piano, I have on my piano, which I'm looking at because I'm, of course, talking to you from my apartment with
Uh-huh.
my home, whatever,
Right.
2021. On my piano, I have these little statues of the statue of the three muses. And I literally was like sitting at my piano looking at them like, guide me. I'm looking for answers. I want to know, what do I do about this, about the kind of love I want to know, about the world I want to see, like about what I'm supposed to be doing with how I spend my day, with my path. What's next? I just want clarity. It's
Sure.
like I just and that song came from that moment. And the bridge of like, I keep looking for answers, but I know they're inside of me. I feel like that is something that I also think was really true of that time too. It was like I knew that I was like looking to these statues and being like, help me, or like looking at my piano like, guide me. What do I do? Who do
Right.
I love? Where do I go? Where should I live? What should I do? All these questions, all these decisions we have to make as humans. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful to have choices,
Right.
to be a woman who can choose what I do with my day. And being a human that has
Mhm.
freedom is
Sure.
so lucky. Um, but it's a lot sometimes to choose and to carve your path, and it can feel daunting. But yet I did have the awareness that by the end of the song, in my writing it and processing what was going on in my
Right.
head, I did have the clarity at least to say like, or to recognize that I keep looking for answers everywhere else about what to do, other people's opinions, society's opinion, my, family's opinion, my friends' opinion, whatever, or like just all the noise. But I do recognize that, you know, uh, to a couple of my friends, Jack and Benny Lipson, they write this song that's like, they list all the things like, a physician can't change your life. They list up can't change your life, blah blah blah, can't change your life. The only person who can change your life is you. I love it because it's also true. It's like you can look for answers at so many places, but really what happens when we just try to quiet the noise and center ourselves and breathe nice and low and still our thoughts and try to get really in touch with that inner voice, that inner guidance that is trying to make itself heard, and we just have to find it through all the chatter, find it and follow it. And that song is really just like, wasn't it an effort towards doing that?
I love the way that you say that by the end of the process of writing that song, that you felt that you had gotten what you set out to accomplish with the song at the beginning when you said, help me make these choices. Muses, why aren't you talking? Why aren't you talking on this piano right now? Why aren't you saying something? That by the end of the process, you felt like you had that piece about how the song all wrapped itself, and there is a lot of noise out there. People mean well and people want to help and so many opinions. And if we listen to it all, sometimes it can make us crazy. Even all the positive, it doesn't have to be bad or good or whatever, but just all of it together to process and discern what do I take from all of this and make my own decision. And that's what you've had to do as an artist and just as a person in life. Just in life, we all have that decision to make. How are we going to take everything that is put in our direction and process it to be right for us?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's I mean, you're a musician. There's just it is so healing and clarifying to make time to create.
Yes, yes. I love that process too. Just as like I said last time, amateur songwriter, I love being able to put thoughts on paper and look at the songs like you are doing right now, and why you wrote them. They're not just a bunch of words. They're not just a pretty melody. It's even the melody, why it went a certain direction. You wanted to give that charge of the song into the bridge, into the intro, into the end, and how it's just so exciting how that process comes together. And this is the first of many, many recordings for you, I'm sure, and you'll be sitting on a stage one day with the piano and you'll be talking about on my first EP 20 years ago, and now I have these 10 albums. It'll be a neat process to go back and like think about this moment and how it's evolved.
Your belief in me means a lot. Thank you so much. It's as my mother says, from your mouth to God's ears.
Right.
I'll be on stage and there'll be people and we'll all
Absolutely,
be
there will be.
together. I keep saying I want my next album to be called Together Together.
I like that. That's the sequel. That's the follow-up. I love
Or
it. I love it.
or live, no,
Yeah.
but I yeah, I just want to keep creating. That's the plan. I don't know anymore what that. I'm taking it one day at a time and just trusting that there's so many surprises that I couldn't even imagine asking, like planning for or even know to ask, but they're going to be fun and part of the journey artistically. And, yeah, it just feels right. It's like a part of my existence. It's a part of my well-being to be forever making the effort to create time, to carve out time, to defend my time,
Right.
create,
Right.
to occasionally document what I'm creating and to bravely share what I'm creating too.
It's soothing for the soul. It helps other people. There's so many
Yeah,
things that are good about that process. There's so many things
yeah,
that are so rewarding in life for that.
yeah, yeah.
I want to talk about Journey Bound. I have to tell you that this is probably my next favorite song of all the 6 songs that, this was, my next favorite one. And I just love, I put a little asterisk next to this one. I love the bridge because I think the bridge is so important. You've talked about the bridge over the last couple of songs. And
Yeah.
that's the part I look forward to writing and also to hearing from people. What are they going to say that moment? It's like that moment where everybody starts to listen and this is what I have to say. This is what this whole song means, or this is what I'm trying to get across. And then musically too, how it goes in a different direction, everything in a bridge. Love that.
Yes. Yes. The bridge is, you're absolutely right. That's how I think of a bridge too. the moment where everything just releases. This is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And then when you're writing it, you have to stop and go, I need a sip of tea. What am I trying to say here? You know, it
Yes,
like
yes,
you get to the bottom of it.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Journey Bound, I wrote that song on an airplane. I was just kind of feeling that I'm sure so many people, if not everybody, has felt at some point, where it's like duty calls and your life path is calling, and there are things you need to do that are part of just what you need to do.
Right.
And and also there's a longing to just stay put in your little cozy zone and not go anywhere, you know, or like not do any, you know, just like
Sure.
stay in that little warm cocoon. And I was on the middle seat of an airplane, and this person by the window was sleeping, and this person was like kind of falling on to me. And I was just thinking about that, and it was one of the songs that came all at once. So sometimes like something will be written just as a poem sort of, or the lyric is coming, but I don't know what it sounds like yet until I sit at the piano or I come up with a melody and when I'm on my walk, and then I try putting the lyrics I had just written to it, something like that.
Right. Right.
This one came all at once. It was like the music and the lyrics and the all of it. And so I started writing it first, and then I was like, oh gosh, you know, by the time I get off this plane and I get my bag and I get in the Uber and I get to my event and I'm like, am I gonna know this? I gotta sing it. I gotta catch it.
Sure.
As if you don't, sometimes, you know, it's I've written song. One of my co-writers, as you know, says sometimes like if it didn't get stuck in your head, it's not good enough. You know, if it's not right. So there's that argument too. But sometimes I just feel like so many ideas come always that like you have to capture it or it's on to the next one. And so I pulled out my iPhone and try not to wake up the first people, but definitely sang
Yeah.
the song into my
Oh,
phone.
yeah.
And immediately when I got home, you know, threw my bags down, sat at the piano, tried to figure out what chords I was hearing. And um, I had this image. There's this, I love paintings. And one of my favorite painters is Klimt. And that kind of like these beautiful, um, well, I think also for that song, I was thinking of Muka art, a piece actually, and he the one especially with there's this beautiful woman, she's holding an anvil,
Hmm.
uh, which looks like kind of like a hammer, but it's like
Right.
yeah, and
Had like a point to it, right? This has like a point to it.
a point, right, and it's like something you would chip away at, and
Sure.
I
Okay.
thought of that painting. And as when we were in Seattle, Philip and I were kind of like adding all the layers, and I was like, it's like that. It's like, you know, the working woman chipping away at her goals, that like kind of, and that painting of this like very feminine Muka. He paints muses, he paints goddesses, you know, like and the anvil of like feminine, but also the productivity. I we added sounds, some percussion sounds to that track that kind of stemmed from that feeling. And the other one I really felt about that one is like I kept having this image as I was trying to communicate to Philip like what it felt like or what I was seeing as we were working on final layers at his studio, House of Breaking Glass. Um, and I kept saying, "Oh, it's like you have to go off to battle, you know, like an old movie where it's like the boom, boom, like the
Sure. Yeah.
drums and you know all the men or women, you know, like everyone has to go do their duty,
Right.
and like they will stay connected, they love each other, but like duty calls, and they'll be back, and like they'll, you know, and like that, the courage, that like boom, boom. So there's some of that feeling, and yeah, just the night before I'm out the door blues. You know, that like, you know, some people talk about every Sunday they feel the blues about Monday starting. It's like this is a very specific, like, oh, tomorrow I go, tomorrow duty calls,
Hmm.
tomorrow I go back to work, or tomorrow um I leave this nest, um and I'll return, you know, but and then the bridge is like, oh, but like, but it's so great and it feels so
Uh,
good and it's
right.
so fun, and like, do I really want to, you know, jump out of the nest and fly? And yeah, because I'm journey bound and I got it. I'm on a journey, and sometimes duty calls, and it's our job to show up, and we'll return to the nest with even more to offer.
I can't wait to go back and listen to that one again now that I have your perspective on it. So it's so inspiring to, I want to go back and hear that again because I really loved it melodically and lyrically, and now to really know exactly where your mind was. And that's what I'm really hoping from our talk today is that people will hear these great stories and be so curious that they just have to put this on and listen to it, that they have to. There's no choices here. We have some choices in life. This is not a choice. They've got to listen to this. Got to listen to it. And
Okay.
I'm hoping that your stories will really inspire them to say, I want to know more. I want to hear more. This is a
Oh,
very intimate way to hear about each song. You
me
know,
too. And I hope people will share with me what their experiences are with them too. 'Cause, you know,
yeah,
I know my experiences with them as I'm sharing with you, but that's what's so cool about music too, is everybody has their own journey with each song.
yeah.
You know, I have so many songs that I return to again and again, and I, yeah, I'm excited that I'll be sharing it.
And we're in a place in life where really with all the social media, we can, as an artist, you can get that feedback, from people that people will tell you, you'll hear it throughout your career, people
Yeah,
saying, that one song, it changed my life. You're going to get those stories, and
yeah,
that's so, and I'm sure you're already getting them now, you're already getting them, but it's
it's
changing
been
my
fun.
path.
Yeah, it's been really fun. In fact, I released the two singles from the EP,
Right.
Changing Seasons and Least Resistance, like we've talked about, or I don't know that we've talked about Least Resistance yet. I think that might be
Just
next.
about to talk to it, but we did talk last time and quite at length, but we're going to
Right,
get back into
right,
it
right.
again. Yes.
Exactly. But I yeah, I kind of just I think that there's just something very well, let's get into it. Let's move on, otherwise we're gonna go on a tangent.
Well, so it does bring us right to that point, which brings us to the fifth track, to Least Resistance, which was the most recent single, and um, I love the studio version that you did, the release on YouTube, where the people see the emotions of your face and as you're singing and the changing images, how it fades from one image to another. Really crafty is how that, it looks so cool, and it really shows the different emotions of that song in your expression. But just absolutely love this song, and I find myself humming the melody in the background, and I hear it a lot. And I've told people that I've talked to, I said, you have to hear, I don't give them a choice. I say, you have to hear this. If you listen to a lot of music, that's okay. You have to listen to this one. Put everything else aside, listen to this song. I keep telling people that. So
You. Thank you.
you're welcome. So tell us all
Yeah.
about that song. Kind of go
Yeah,
back and revisit. We have talked about it a little bit, but it's part of this whole tracking, the sequencing. I want
right.
people to see now where you're at with this song from the other ones that we just came off.
Yeah. Well, I just quickly wanted to add that when you were mentioning that about how people share their experiences with your songs, that I released Changing Seasons and Least Resistance. After that, I on Valentine's Day, I shared the a cover song,
Right.
uh, an Elvis Presley tune,
Yep.
"Can't Help Falling in Love," and people have been sharing their experiences with that song, which has been so fun. And I was just thinking that someone shared, "Oh, that was my parents' first Kiss song when they were 16 in the car, or oh, we danced to that at our wedding. And yeah, that's been so fun. And yeah, as you were saying that, I was like, oh, that's cool. People are gonna maybe share their experiences of songs I wrote. Of course, Elvis has been around a long time, and so many people have experiences with that music. That's such a fun part of it all, is like that you get, like you said last time, that music is your soundtrack. It's like, oh,
Right.
cool. I wonder what this will be the soundtrack to.
I
I
think it'd
can
be a
tell that
sound.
it's like cozy music. It's like
Yeah.
intimate, small, like groups of friends, or it's not like, like club music. It's kind of a journey, something you like when you put a record on and listen to the story.
Right.
Who knows what people's experiences will be? That's interesting. But yeah, least resistance. Um, I mentioned, yeah, I was in the woods and I was just thinking about all the things that I want to see in this life. And it's like if you think about when you were a kid and you felt that there are endless possibilities and you don't have any, you don't have, you have less influence from, I think maybe you have less sort of like influence from society or um, any ideas of limitation.
Right.
And what did that dream life look like? What kind of path were you on? And is right now who you are, if you had a conversation with that, for me, little girl, would I say, good job. Yes, that's the kind of love we're after. And yeah, that's the kind of life we're after. And yeah, that's the kind of path. And that's the way we spend our day. I want to be proud of my time here. And in order to do that, I need to be really clear about what it is that I want to accomplish. I need to make the time to be focused. I need to trust my inner voice and trust my inner guidance, and I need to go after it, and I need to put effort behind it and take care of myself and take care of the things I care about. And that's a lot. That's not just like sitting on a floaty and, going down the lazy river. That's that's sometimes, I mean, I don't think you have to like go about it with stress, and preferably it's like there is a flow about it, but it isn't just accepting whatever's there and taking whatever comes to you and, adjusting whatever falls on your plate. It's like, no, it's not always the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is so true there. I mean, there's so many different things to look back on in life and hope you made the right choice. And I just know that as you go through all of this, that I mean, you can see right now, you talked to last time a little bit about how, people say it's scary out there and to chase a career and something you love to do, but
Mhm.
what career isn't? I mean, every career has its, and so you can look back and say, you know, job well done. I could have gone with something that was a little more sure, but would I have had my soul as full of happiness if I had done that? Uh, I would almost guarantee not. I mean, just because you have this in you, that you've had this, just learning more about how you've traveled through your formative years and everything, that this was a passion that had to be let out, that you had to chase this passion. And it was so important. And you'll look back and say, if I had said, oh, well, yeah, you're right, it's hard going to chase Broadway, going to chase music, going to chase, yeah, I'll I'll take that job at the insurance office down the street for a while. There's no bad career. I mean, everyone has to do what they have to do in life, and we all have to make a living. But I think that so often we're afraid. We do take the path of least resistance. We do take it. And if we would just look to see, well, here's what's behind door number two. Maybe door number two is better than door number one, which seems really solid, and nothing's for sure. Nothing is, but it might seem for sure. But door number two, that's really enticing. And door number three, you never know what is waiting
Right.
behind those doors.
Right. Well, one thing is for sure, and that is that if you at least try to follow it, and you know that you did your best in each moment to like to listen to that and to show up for it,
Yeah.
even though we don't know what's behind that door. If we can, and this is a daily effort, it's not like, oh, I've achieved this. It's a sort of an ongoing goal
Right.
to show up, and at least if I choose something and it doesn't work out in a way that I love, it's like, well, I did the best in that moment that I could, and I was following my heart, and I made a decision based off of what my instincts were guiding me to do. So, and if I hadn't done that, then I wouldn't know that
Right.
I wouldn't have that information. So I have to make a choice first,
Yes.
and try to make the one that feels the most authentic. And then if I like it and I had my heart behind it, chances are something about energy and where you put it and what you're manifesting. I think there is something to all that. Yeah.
Energy brings energy. If someone is just glowing with energy and inspiration, people are attracted to that. And so they'll be attracted to your music because of what it says and because of what you've put together. And by emitting energy in this world, that's how people become inspired, and that's how things are successful. It's hard for someone to turn down someone who just has so much energy and animation that you could tell they really want this. It's hard for them to say, oh no, sorry. And it does happen, people, but a lot of times you get to that person anyways. It just takes a little bit longer. It takes a little bit longer to get to that person, get to their core and say, I mean this. I really want this to happen in my life. I want this career. I want this song to be big. I want this part in a show.
Yep.
So,
Full speed ahead. Just like a moment where you go, you know what? Okay, what happens if can I really get this right? Why not?
right.
Let's try it. I'm gonna go for it. I'm
Yep.
gonna follow this, and then I don't know. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Um, the last track on the album, and this is the focus track of the EP, Lover's Lullaby.
Yeah, yeah. What to say about that? Um, I just, I think that, well, the time of of night plays into that song, and how it sort of ended up being arranged and delivered. It was, that quiet time just as you're transitioning from being awake to going into dreamland. Um, you know, Children experience it often with somebody rocking them, or, a lullaby being the song that it takes you through that passage from the awake conscious world into the unconscious dream world. Um, and so and cinema and the strings of that song, I felt, we felt, because Philip and I, created that song with me, that the strings could kind of create that passage and sort of guide. It's interesting you said, which, thank you, that it sounded like my voice is on like a bed of sound. I get images with that song of like a bed of flowers, or like
Mm-hmm.
a bed next to or not necessarily a bed, but like a resting place by by the flowing river. Or I don't know. I think that the strings help to take this song into a cinematic space that goes on that journey. And dreams are really nice when they're good. You can wake up feeling really good. Um, and the song is just again about together a way that, yeah, we're gonna say goodnight now, and but that's not goodbye,
Right.
because I'll see you there. We're just like, we're gonna stay in it together and transition into dream space. And I don't want to close my eyes and say goodbye, but you know, if you and this is a song, it's called Lover's Lullaby. The idea is that lullabies are not just for a mother to a baby, although, you know, I think it's like that maternal love is present in this song too. But just like I love that painting again, like I saw this sort of Renaissance painting of, you know, holding a loved one and like being rocked, I think, and or rocking, you know, um, and being present as they transition into dream. One of my favorite songs is from the musical Violet, Lay Down Your Head. Oh, just always loved a good lullaby.
Right.
There's another song Anne Ranulph sings about that's a lullaby. Gosh, so good. It's just such a sweet kind of music, and I love singing them. You know, yeah, and I have nieces and nephews that I enjoy singing lullabies to when we're together, when I'm giving my sister a break and, you
Yes.
know, putting them to sleep. I love that of music. Or when I've babysat, you know, lullabies are sweet, but yeah, I had this painting in my mind that was like a two lovers embracing or just yeah, just all the different ways that a lullaby is appropriate, that all people need a lullaby. And don't worry, you can close your eyes. You can, I'll be there always, and we'll be connected always. And I'll see you in dreamland, and I'll be kissing all of you, you know, like it'll be so sweet. You can just transition into um, the sweet space of comfort and knowing that we're always together and that goodbye is nothing and no one ever says goodbye because it's just see you later or see you right now. You know, we never parted. We're just always eternally connected.
Love it. It's such a beautiful description you give to that. And you really, you can feel that image. You think of a child, like you said, you know, just that going to sleep restful, someone singing a lullaby to them and they just peacefully drift off to sleep and to begin the whole day again.
Yeah.
Um, or and many levels of the song of goodbye for now or goodbye till tomorrow or goodbye till, you know, it's so many levels in which, you know, the song can be, you know,
Yeah, and I hope that people do find the song when they you want to be reminded to have the courage in their hearts to thank their time for bringing them to the people that that they so love having in their lives and when it would be comforting and peaceful and calming and joyous and bring a feeling of warmth to be reminded that we're always connected and that um, yeah, that peace can be found in that idea.
together away. Wow.
Together
It's coming
away.
out March 12th, this Friday. What is that? 72 hours away. Not that we're counting, but I mean, you know,
Ah!
it's so exciting. This is just it's so great to hear track by track about the album, and I know that people it's going to really make people want to hear it. They're going to be so curious to hear it because you've given your how often is it? I know that we're in a world of social media where people do talk about their songs and whatnot, but how often is it that you really can hear an artist in such an intimate kind of a setting talk about exactly what these songs and more than just, oh yeah, I wrote this for this reason and that's it, you know, or it really doesn't mean anything to me. Some people have a deep meaning of a song. Maybe you have a favorite song and then you hear your idol say, oh yeah, that's a throwaway song. I never liked that one. You're like, how can you say that? You know? So it's like to really hear how much heart and soul you put into these songs is really powerful, really powerful. So
Thank you. I've enjoyed going through them track by track too and taking the time to reflect on each of them. And yeah, as we said, each of them was such an experience to write. And I feel really like the songs changed me. And also, like each time I return to them, the meaning has sort of even more layers.
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one last question today, and that is just we touched on so many different things last time we spoke about the journey and taking chances and different things in musical theater, segues where you can choose to maybe be a little bit nervous about chasing something further. And then you said that, yes, when you do get into it, there are things that the people that said there were going to be, some challenges, those challenges do come to rise. But I was
Mhm.
wondering if there's any, you say things so eloquently, and I just was wondering if there's one thing that you might be able to say to really kind of sum up that whole journey to this point that would encourage someone who's young to just take the leap of faith that you took and to to be to be practical, of course, but to really not be inhibited by the things that can be you can be talked out of as you're
Mhm.
chasing a career. Someone who's in maybe high school right now or in middle school, and they're thinking, I might really want to do this.
Well, I think the biggest thing I always return to is, I can't pretend that I know what happens in terms of like an afterlife or, you know, what is next. All I know is what is right now, and that this time is really precious and very limited. And I think that's something I've understood from a young age. Some of the early concepts of together away, of having not having always the people that you love right beside you. I think having experienced loved ones passing on from an early age gave me this understanding early on that, oh wow, who knows how long I'm going to be here? Who knows how long I'm going to be on this planet? Who knows how much time I get? It's no amount of time is just promised to us. And so, what do I want to do here? Where do I feel like I'm being guided to go, or where is my inspiration? And I think if you have inspiration and you feel a sense of not I don't think I ever feel 100% clear about really anything. There's so many unknowns, but if I guess I'm just trying to say that, you know, having inspiration is like that's incredible. So many people have no idea what they like or feel like that. They haven't given themselves space at all to discover a passion. If you have one, and it's like an authentic thing that you love something, whatever that may be. I mean, why not?
Mhm. I love it. I love it.
And where there's a will, there's a way. And I don't know, I guess people, like we talked about last time, the comments they make about security and rejection, yeah, those are. But I mean, when a surgeon goes to do surgery, they're not always going to help the person live. You know what I mean? Like, or when a teacher teaches a classroom, they're not always going to get through to every student. I mean, you win some, you lose some, and none of it is a cakewalk. No path is without trial and tribulation. We just have to try to grow from it, from whatever path we're trying to take that feels most authentic and inspired. We're going to run into some stuff that's hard, and let's try to grow from it and stand up even stronger. What else can you do? you
Yep.
know
What's the alternative? Right.
and the last thing is, there was a certain point, I was just on a walk thinking about this, that there was a certain point where I was considering medicine as the path that I would go into professionally, and just kind of have my music be my form of play and enjoyment. um, and when I was sort of like learning from somebody who had taken that path. I think mentors and getting connecting with people who are doing a thing that you love is a great way to explore it more. And and move in the direction of that thing that's inspiring you, is to find other people who are doing it and learn and ask them questions and learn from them. Um, and that physician said something to along the lines of like, well, when a person wakes up in the morning, and I think this is the advice that he'd give a patient looking for guidance and help and not feeling good, like, what is the thing that when you wake up in the morning gives you the most joy? You don't want to roll over and hit snooze. You want to get going at it. And what is that like? And I think that helps you kind of get an idea of what your authentic spark is. And moving in the direction of that is important. And when I answered that question for myself, it wasn't medicine in that literal way. It was the thing I get really excited about jumping out of bed and getting ready to do. And I don't want to just keep snoozing, is like, I'm excited about trying certain things and finishing certain things and learning certain things and attempting certain things, and those certain things are a good place to start.
Yeah.
Trying to move and show up to do it. So yeah, and it's a continual effort to try to balance in life, and certainly balancing being practical and taking care of your essential needs. Surviving, being independent. Part of that is financial. Working hard to make sure that you have your essential needs met is important. And so is carving out time to take care of your soul and your heart and follow your voice and make the time to hear your own voice by creating and listening and sharing.
Well, I know that after Friday, there are going to be a lot of people who are, with all due respect, glad that you did not choose to go into the medical profession. With all due respect, because I'm sure you would have been great. But I just, I think that after Friday, there's going to be a lot more people than already are out there that are be really grateful that you decided to pursue the path that you have pursued. So
Thank you. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And I've so enjoyed our conversations too.
thank you, me also, and we wish you the best of success. And we'll all be waiting to hit the play button on Friday.
Yay.
So thank you so much, Nina, for your time, and we can't wait. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.